So you have a 7-month-old and things are starting to get super fun with what your little one can do, and you're finally seeing that personality really shine. In this video, I'm going to tell you a couple of different things based on the Ages and Stages questionnaire that you can be working on this month with your little one. If you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is Jenny, certified teacher, doctoral student, and mom of 2 girls, Alice, who is my 2-year-old, and Mina, who is my almost 8-month-old. I wanted to cover a couple of different skills that you can be working on with your little one based on the 5 components of the Ages and Stages questionnaire. So I'm going to be giving you some suggestions in these 5 categories: communication, gross motor, fine motor, personal social, and problem solving. In each of those areas, I have 2 to 3 suggestions on things you can work on with your child. If they're not mastering it yet, that's completely fine, but it is things that you're going to be looking for next month on the Ages and Stages questionnaire, and thus things you might want to work on this month. So let's start with the first section, that is communication. The first thing that you're going to be looking for with your child in terms of communication is your child understanding tone. For example, if I say no, and I say it in a tone that says, don't do that, you should be looking for your child to pause for a moment. It doesn't mean that your kid's gonna completely listen to you and stop doing it, but they should pause and look because of the tone change in your voice. Mina, no. 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 How I practice this with Mina is I will put something within her reach that I know that I don't want her to have necessarily, and then I will say, Mina, no. And then see if she will react and look at me before she continues to do it. It is not unusual or a failure for your little one to continue to do it. You're looking for that pause moment before they continue to do it again. The second communication skill looking for working on this month is combining 2 sounds. So whichever sounds your little one is making right now, whether that's ma, ga, ka, or ba, those are the ones that I would start to babble back to your child to see if they can repeat it to you. Ma, 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 ma. So for example, you can say ma, ma, ma if they're working on that ma sound and seeing if they can copy you. One of the ways I get my little one talking is I will actually repeat her when she starts babbling. So if she says ah, I'll say ah, and that kind of opens up the conversation, if you will, for me to be able to say ba and see if she'll repeat it back to me. You're really just looking for them to combine 2 syllables, whether that's mama, dada, gaga, baba, any of those. So let's move on to gross motor skills now. One of the major gross motor skills that you're going to want to work on is sitting up without support. So we've been talking about that tripod sit that your little one has been hopefully practicing. And now we want to see that your little one has enough core strength to actually just sit up on their own without needing to tripod sit. It doesn't mean that it's perfect all the time, it just means that they are capable of sitting up without support. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mama. 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 Mina, can you say mama? Mama. 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 How I practiced this with Mina before she was able to master it is I would sit her in my lap and I would just have a hand lightly on her chest to hold her from falling over and basically allow her to practice. Typically I would give her a toy to make sure that she got her hands up off of the floor and was practicing that core strength. But again, having that security blanket of being sat in my lap was very helpful. Now eventually you're going to want to move them onto the floor to do this. Another skill that you're going to work on as far as gross motor goes is pulling up onto something. Now this one can be a little bit challenging, and I know Mina struggled with this one at first. So the way that I do this is I actually have a water table that is the perfect height for her, and so I will put really interesting things into the water table and I will sit right behind her and I will basically position myself where I am right behind her if she falls backwards onto her bottom. So she knows that there's a security net there if she needs to fall backwards, but I basically will just lift her just enough to give her an oomph to be able to hold on to the side. Good job! Occasionally too, I will reposition her feet if they're in a wonky spot, so that way she has a little bit more stability while she's pulled up like that. So those are the two gross motor skills that you're going to want to work on this month. So let's move on to the next section, which is fine motor skills. One of the first skills you're going to work on with your child is actually using a pincer grip with a toy. So basically what you're looking for is your child to pick up a toy and have space between their hand and the toy itself. So for example, using this taco toy, you're looking for your child to have space in between the toy and their hand. It's showing that actual pincer grip as opposed to a grip like this. The second part of fine motor that you're going to work on is actually picking up a puff or a Cheerio off of a tray. Now it does not matter if it's a raking motion or if it's a pincer grasp, as long as they're able to pick that up. Typically you may find that the raking motion works best, and that certainly has been the case for Mina, but it's definitely something you want to practice. And with the meltable puffs, the puffs that actually will kind of melt in their mouths without potential choking risks, it can be a lot of fun for them to do. So how I will typically practice this is I will put several of them around the tray for Mina to try to grasp.
Oh, you got it.
I will initially start with just one though to see if she can really kind of connect her hand with where that puff is. If she is struggling, I will make sure to give it to her so she doesn't get so frustrated that she does not want to continue trying. Remember, this should all be fun. So the next section that you're going to work on some skills on is problem solving. And the first skill that you're going to work on in problem solving is being able to hold one toy in each hand. Now this can be tricky to practice, and you'll actually see in the video I kind of hand Mina a lot of different things before she finally realizes that she can hold something in both hands. So what would happen for me is I would hand her one thing, she would hold it, and then I would hand her a second, and she would drop that one and then hold the other one.
Mina. Good job.
Just continue to practice handing your child more than one thing, and eventually they're going to realize, hey, I can actually hold these two things at the same time. The second skill that you're going to be working on is actually banging two toys together. Now it can actually be together with one another, or it can be taking a toy and banging it on the floor. Both of these are milestones that are going to be coming up. So how I practice this is I will usually model it for Mina, and I will show her how I can bang two toys together or bang a toy onto a surface, and how it makes a really satisfying noise. She's really been picking that one up pretty well, and she really enjoys doing it once she realized she could actually create a sound by banging two toys together. I find something like stacking cups works really well for this, or even blocks, because it makes a really satisfying sound that is enjoyable for your infant to be able to practice. So the last section that we are going to talk about as far as skills go is personal social skills. So the first personal social skill that you want to work on is your little one being able to self-feed a cracker. So something you can do is give them a teething cracker and see if they can actually take that teething cracker and put it into their mouth and self-feed it, essentially. Obviously, you're going to want to monitor this because of the fact that it can still be a choking risk, so make sure you're closely monitoring them when you practice this. I like to use the ones from Happy Baby because they have a couple that have no added sugar, and I feel a little more comfortable with that. So I will give her one and closely monitor her to make sure that she is not going to bite off a big old piece of it, but you're looking for your child to be able to self-feed themselves something large like a cracker. So the final skill that you're going to work on with your little one this month is actually patting a mirror. So how I practice this is I actually will sit her down in front of our large bathroom mirror and allow her to just interact with herself, be able to look at the mirror, be able to pat the mirror, and just take in what she's seeing.
Yeah?
So I spend a little time every night right after bath sitting her down by that mirror to practice just looking at a mirror and looking at a reflection and looking at facial expressions either she is making or I am making next to her, so that she can really get a sense of those personal social skills. So that's kind of my quick and dirty rundown of different skills you can work on at 7 months. There is no formal Ages and Stages questionnaire for 7 months. However, there are skills that I felt are things that are appropriate that you can work on this month that are coming up on future Ages and Stages questionnaires. I hope this video was helpful for you and you get some ideas of different activities you can do with your little one. I know I've been having a lot of fun working with Mina, and I hope you are having fun with your little one as well. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you next time. Take care.